Now let's take a quick look at all the moves that just have special properties like screw attack or homing, just so you get a little bit more familiar with the list, and they'll tend to click a little bit better when you go over the character in general, and it helps, oh yeah, no, that's a homing move. That just kind of helps the repetition and learning process a little bit. So let's go down the list of screw attacks, of which Kunimitsu has entirely too many. First up is 111. The teleport blink slash is the screw attack, which means back turned 1-2-1, as well as Setsuragake 1-2-1 are also all screw attacks. They all end in that same extension. So all three of those work. This is what you're going to use 90% of the time, especially Set 1-2-1. This is the screw attack for the most part. All the other ones are there for situations or style points or whatever it might be, but those are the ones you need to worry about. She has 3-4. Which the 4 is the screw attack. Even though the first 3 hit is the homing, the 4 is the screw attack. You have to do both hits. Forward 2-3 is a nice quick little screw attack. If you forget where you are in the combo or the wall is coming up quickly, this is a nice one to just toss it out there and get it done. Forward 3+4 is less useful, mainly because it's a high and she tends to jump over them easily. Usually you kind of had to do this early in the combo. It's not super practical otherwise. If you do like a balcony break and they bounce down at the end, then this could be a good choice because it's nice damage. But there are definitely still other choices to do. You're not going to use this one on purpose very often. Back 2 is a single hit screw attack, as is Set 2. And these two are the same thing again. If you forget your place in the combo, you could do this real quick. If you see the wall coming up and adjust it for the most part. And Set is there if you happen to be in Set during the combo, which you are going to be a lot. You can just get your screw attack quickly like that. But again, you're going to use Set 1-2-1 on purpose most of the time. But these other ones are there just in case you need them. From back turn, she has 2 options, 2-3, which is fundamentally the same string as forward 2-3 anyway. And she also has back 4, a homing high attack that functions as a screw. And these are also if you happen to be back turn in a combo and you need a panic screw attack, there they are. Couple of strange ones that you're never going to use very often. Forward 3+4 2. That's a screw attack. If it lands the string together, it causes an automatic screw attack, so it should be a screw attack if it hits an airborne opponent too. You can actually get it on a couple of launchers, like that. Let me get to a little distance so you can see that one. There. So it does cause a screw attack mid-combo. You're not going to find too many situations for that, although that is hella cool if you do. Her Shoryuken attack. Forward neutral, down, down, forward, +2. This is a screw attack all on its own, and if you land it in a combo, we'll do the same thing. Again, mostly style points, not very practical. Can use it if you need to, but you're not going to plan for it unless you know you have one specific combo that uses that in mind and you want to go for it. That's about it. The most style point worthy of them all, though, is Katan 4-2. That one. You're never going to use that. You can do it right here off this back turn launcher. That's it. You're not going to have too many other opportunities to get a crumple stun where you can use that move as a screw attack. The startup on it is just so slow, but it's there. Whatever. And the final one is while standing 2-4. This is a pretty good one to have because there are a couple situations where she ends up crouching automatically, and you can just use this. Like so. So it's kind of handy in a situation where you're crouching, but that's it. Otherwise, for real, Set 1-2-1 is all you're going to use on purpose. Back 2 and Set 2 occasionally. That's it. You don't have to really worry about the rest of them. They're just there if you happen to notice it at some time. So let's look at homing attacks, which is a much simpler list and also a lot of overlap. We saw 3-4, how we talked about the second hit is the one that causes the screw attack. Well, here the 3 is the homing. So if you're using it to stop an opponent from stepping, just stick with the 3. You don't want to do the 4. The 4 puts you at risk of getting ducked if they weren't actually stepping, if they were just kind of sitting there playing defense. You don't want to throw that out unless you're sure in a lot of cases. Forward 3+4 is another good homing move. Pretty fast. Avoids lows well, if that's your thing. Also a counter hit launcher. So this is a good move all around. And as a homing move, pretty good. It's another high, as is back turn 4. Back turn is a good one to have, because when you're running mix-ups and applying pressure and stuff like that, they're going to try to sidewalk out of it as best they can so they don't have to deal with it. So having a back-turned heavy mix-up inbound and a homing move to check them is really nice. But all these are high. These 3 homing moves are all highs, and your opponent's going to know that eventually. So if they're of the mind to start sidewalking you a lot in the hopes of making you bust out the homing moves, they know those homing moves are high. So if they're doing like a pattern of like, you know, a jab and a down forward 1, and they start sidewalking, they keep doing that, right? And they keep catching these whiffs. So eventually, when they see them do that, you're going to throw out the homing move and try to catch them. Well, they could bait that, right? If they know what they're doing, they'll do this and they'll just duck, since they know your homing moves are like all highs. That's kind of a weakness there is. The only one she has that fixes this is back 2. Back 2 is a mid homing move. You say, well, what's the problem? Why wouldn't you just use that? You wouldn't use that because it's minus 13 on block. For whatever reason, they took this move, which is just like Kazumi's back 2 or Lars's back 1. Tons of moves are like this. They decided to make this Power Crush. This is also a Power Crush move, and kind of by rule, mid Power Crushes have to be unsafe on block. So this ends up being minus 13. Instead of being like minus 7 and being like a really good homing move, now she basically doesn't have a mid homing move. Because you don't want to just do this one. If you think the opponent might be stepping, and you just do that, odds of them just doing nothing and punishing you on block are way higher. So you can't just do that one. This is only for the situations where you know the opponent is going to try to bait out your high homing moves. It's a weird situation to create just by making that her Power Crush. And it's her only Power Crush. Back 2 is the only one that she's got. Seems like they just picked a random move and gave it the Power Crush property when there are millions of other moves that could have gotten it like this. That would have been a good choice. That would have been a good choice. All these 1+2 attacks. What would also be a good choice is down back 1+2. Because this is her wall bounce. There are a lot of characters that have an armored wall bounce attack. That works pretty well. You know, they're minus 14 for the most part because they are situational launchers. That would have been just fine if you'd have made this her Power Crush. But for whatever reason, they put it on back 2, and I think that kind of ruined the utility of back 2. Go figure. But that's all she has, 1 Power Crush in back 2, and 1 wall bounce, and down back 1+2. They're not really exceptional in any way besides that. They do exactly what you'd expect. Down back 1+2 was on the slower side compared to some of these other ones. But that long wind-up, I think, is mainly just to help her avoid their attacks and then swing back and hit them. The other unique move trait to talk about would be rage attacks. And rage drives and rage art here, they're nothing super special either. The one thing to note more than anything else is the range on these. These have superb range. These are effective from like range 5. Because she does that teleport dash stuff, works super well. That's the only thing really noteworthy about her rage drive. It's the Death Fist type, meaning it just hits them towards the wall like 100 feet. Look at the distance they travel. No matter where you are, you're probably going to get that wall splat. And it leaves her right in front to follow up the combo thereafter. She doesn't have to chase. So you don't get a combo out in the open with this. You wouldn't be able to hit them afterward. This is only to get them to the wall in a combo. Or if they hit the wall up in the air, you can do this to resplat them. And it'll stick them to the wall on the ground, and you get a resplat and your whole combo that way. So combo extender at the wall, additional wall carry out in the open, but not a combo starter. Which is, again, a common trait. Paul and Leo are the Death Fist types. They do exactly the same function for the most part. And then finally, Kunimitsu's Rage Art also has this superb range property. That's really far away. Down 1+2 is otherwise a pretty generic mid Rage Art, but the range on it is absolutely noteworthy. It looks cool, it's awesome looking. Maybe a bit too long, but they're all kind of long. So other than that, her Rage Arts and Rage Drives have fantastic range, but they're pretty straightforward otherwise for the most part.